Here we are, and welcome, of course, to another weekend. Welcome, and first of all, thank you, all our viewers and everybody that's commenting on our webinars that we're doing with, of course, with the wonderful Lee Tennyware. And we're here for another series, of course, of extreme business, set mind, and everything that comes with that. Now, here's the thing, we know every week Lee doesn't know what we're going to be talking about, in a sense of I bring a title in, I bring a subject in, and boom, Lee opens up that mindset of him, because trust me, this man did eat the three wise men many times over. Every Christmas, he gobbled him up with his turkey, because this man has a beautiful mind on him. And you know what? Now, I asked Lee in the week, I said, what's your title, Lee? And he said, well, you know what? I don't really know. And I thought about it. It's like, how do you title someone that's got everything? It's like what you buy for your dad that has everything. It's one of those things you look at, and here we are. So I kind of pulled it together for this week without Lee knowing. And this man is definitely the subconscious code breaker. That's what we are here. So Lee Tennyware, welcome to your Extreme Business Set Mind webinar, the subconscious code breaker. This man really is the making of your extreme business life, personal life, and everything that comes with that, the subconscious code break. And I spoke to this with my Deb yesterday. And Deb is, she loves this kind of thing. She's like, oh my word, that so fits him. I said, well, it was already out there. I've kind of pinched it. I said, but I'm going to highlight it. So we are, Lee Tennyware, the subconscious code breaker. And of course, with Lee is myself, Paul Rees, your business designer and extreme niche expert. And together, we kind of going to mold into this week's subject, which is, of course, the vision board, its true purpose.
Oh,
the vision board is true. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this in, because it's like the double glazing salesperson. Everybody tries to sell you a vision board. Everybody and it started with The Secret, the book, The Secret, which for me was half finished. And it started with that, and it's like everybody has these up on their fridges and on their walls and their office. And so I said, wait. There's layers to this, and this can be like oil and water. They're both fluid, but they don't mix. And so here we go, Lee. Let's go into this. The vision board is true purpose, and you smiled as soon as I said it. So let's dive into what this is.
Well, good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
The vision board. Now, you could say it's hairy-fairy.
Yeah.
But in many ways, it isn't, and it is. And I think, and I like The Secret. Yeah, I liked it, and I would have known a lot of the people's stuff that, in a sense, as I've been in that space, reading the books, doing all the stuff, long before it was fashionable, let's say. Yeah. Always looking for that secret. I just think it's got lost in translation, if I'm honest. And when I say lost in translation, a bit like Chinese whispers. Mm-hmm. And that's not to discredit anybody that does it or anybody that's written about it. I just think there's subtleties to it. And probably the biggest one, which is totally missed. Absolutely totally missed. And I'm not sure if I can express it in a way where it's heard. It's not what I say, it's what people hear. It's not what I mean, it's what people feel. So I have to sort of eject what you said for a minute to come into it a different way, to try and pre-frame it, and not to control it, but to hear it.
Yeah.
Right. And I've done this in seminars with 50 or 100 people plus in the room. And the bigger the numbers, it's very hard to do it. But around 50 or 60 or 70 people, it can be done quite easily. In Zoom, it can be done even easier. What I normally do in a real live room is I have 3 flip charts, and I can't read or write very well because of my dyslexia. So I get people on the flip chart, and I ask the audience at the beginning of the day, why are they here? Bear in mind, it's a transform seminar. Why are you here?
Yeah.
And I'm here to work on myself. I'm here to set my goals. I'm here to be accountable to my goals. I'm here to And you get loads of bits and you try and write them down and you put lines beside the ones that keep coming up. Yeah, I'm here for that as well. I'm here for whatever. And you try and get around the room. Obviously, when you've got loads, like hundreds of people, it's very hard to do it because you'd be there all day just writing down what people are there for. And once I've written it, I've got it all written up. But bear in mind, you've got other humans telling you why they're there.
Yeah.
So if you hear it this way, you're in the restaurant and you ask them, what would you like? Yeah, because that's why they're there. What would you like? Yeah. And they're basically saying to you, well, I'm here to set my goals. I'm here for the minestrone soup. Yeah, because they've got their reason why they're there. And they've travelled, some from different countries, many from different parts of the country, to come to an event to work on themselves. And I say to the whole room that, believe it or not, that isn't why you're here. Even though you've made all the choices and decisions to come here. And I say, who am I to tell you? You're the only ones that know what goes on in your minds. Yeah. You're the only one that knows why you're here, why you've invested the time and the money to be here. And then I'm standing before you and telling you the reason you've come isn't the reason why you're here. And believe it or not, the only reason why you're here, all of you, and the only reason why you've read the books, done all the vision boards, the goals, yeah, whatever action or interaction you've had, whatever course you've done before this in relation to transforming your life, you're only here for one reason, and that's to get rid of the future you don't want. And if you hear that, you're here to get rid of the future you don't want, the one that you believe is preordained. And the reason that, and this is where people have got to realize, they've already got a pre-installed outcome based on their interactions, their circumstances, their nature, their nurture, based on the people, like their family members, their teachers, all what's been said to them, all what they've thought and imagined themselves has created this virtual reality future. It's not real. Yeah. And they're there to work on themselves because they don't like what's coming.
Oh, wow.
And they believe by working on themselves, they're going to change the future. Now, when you take that a little bit further, a lot of people talk about manifestation or creation or creating the reality you want, ejecting negative and toxic people from your life, putting yourself around the average of the 5 people. You have to be like with real, like, and there's a lot of books out there, like in a sense, like Fail Fast. You need resilience, yeah. You need grits, yeah. And nothing wrong with all of them. However, you only need resilience if you've got a hard future coming. You hear that one?
Say that again.
You only need resilience if you've got a hard future coming.
Wow.
I mean, if the penny drops, you hear it. Is why do you need resilience if it's your future and you're the pilot of it and you can fly through? It's not going to be stormy weather, not unless you. Well, that's likely, isn't it? Well, there you go again. No, the calibration of consciousness and the way we interact with each other is the demolition of what, if we actually got out of each other's way and stopped judging each other and putting each other down and gave everybody, bear in mind, we talk about the word freedom. Freedom is actually biological. It's not psychological. Freedom, as in you're not shackled. If you're not shackled, you're free. However, are you controlled by circumstances? And if that's what people mean by freedom,
then
if you're controlled by circumstances, then you're either controlled by your income or commitments to income, as in job, or career, that I have to do this because if I don't do this, I won't be able to keep the cave warm, or I won't have the big cave I want. So we got our goals and our outcomes. But then what we try and do is we visualize it, nothing wrong with that. And we take our vision and we put it into the real world, because what we see in our mind isn't real, it's imagined.
Yeah.
When we put it out on a piece of paper, so it's a bit like if you took yourself into the court of life, Yeah. And you were before the judge, and the judge said to you, so you want these goals in your future? Yes, Your Honour. Have you got any evidence to that? I have. My vision board. Very good. Now we've got visual proof that other people can see. So it takes something from the internal world to the real world that can be witnessed and verified, even though we might share it with other people. And we've got all these little pictures stuck up and different things like that. And it goes back years ago. They used to talk about writing yourself a check, sticking it up on the mirror on the fridge. If you wanted to lose weight, you might take a picture of yourself, or have a picture of the body you want and stick your head on it.
Hold that thought. Let me share something with you. Use my wallet, okay? So I'm gonna open this up, and you that has been in there. This check has been in there. I don't know since. Oh, I don't know how many years of that's been just wall. So here's the thing. Can we see that a vision board can be done out of lack of worth and desperation and have no authenticity to it? There's a second version of a vision board which actually comes where you are saying to life, this is what's going to happen. Because I'm a little bit.
If you want to make it real, if you really want to make it real, and you want to take it from a secret to reality, then you've got to ask yourself, how is reality made? Yeah. So, for example, with the check there, Jim Carrey done it with the check. Jim Carrey was on Oprah talking about it. And because he became really famous and he was able to get that check, but Jim Carrey had a talent that fitted the marketplace really well. All he needed was a break. So it was a bit like these superstitious thinking, superstitious beliefs, or antique thinking, ancestral type thinking, where we got these bequeathed beliefs and we move from one generation to the other, holding on to this dark age type hope. And the more people that subscribe to it, the more people that's real. So in a sense, we've created, and no disrespect to anybody that's been involved in that creation, and who am I to know, you could say, there's little bits in a minute I can tell you that showed me the secret, in the plain light of day. So when you see it on TV and you see people like Oprah or Jim Carrey talking about really what we're talking about, and he wrote this check and he done all that, but Jim Carrey had a specific talent that fitted the marketplace and was in the right place. Now, if he was trying to be a Hollywood actor in, I don't know, Hollyhead rather than Hollywood, I mean, the chances of anybody ever knowing Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey is only famous. And what is famous, because you can be famous in the negative or the positive, is how many people know your name. Are you a household name? How many minds have your name installed in them? How many minds know your name? That's famous. It doesn't matter whether you're negative or positive, as in the marketplace. Obviously, if you're positive and they value it, then you're going to get money. But there's serial killers that have had films made about them. And there's serial killers that have had the rights for their movie, like bought by Hollywood, and they've made fortunes from what they've done. So you can, if you're known in the negative, you can earn lots of money. If you're known in the positive, obviously, logically, you can earn more. How does that come back to the vision board? Well, I have severe dyslexia. So one of the golden rules to being successful is writing your goals down. I've never written my goals down. Never once. Now, didn't stop me buying a house when I was 18, but I couldn't write my goals down. Couldn't write my goals down. So if writing your goals down was one of the golden keys that you had to do. Now, did I know my goals? Oh, yes, but I didn't write them down.
Were your goals here, in your heart, or in your mind?
Well, this is the point. When you write something down, it comes into the real world. However, the real world, See, your perception of reality is reality. Your perception of the facts are the facts. Whatever perspective you have or feeling you have to attach to that, that becomes your reality. Your reality. Now, excuse me, when you make it real is when other people concur. And that's like law. It doesn't matter, like if you look at justice, is it just? I mean, if you went back into the Dark Ages when they burnt or hung witches, was that just? But it was justice at the time. It was just where the conscious algorithm was and who was in charge. Yeah, and that was perceived like that was normal. Was it normal for? I mean, when we look at Christianity, Pope, can't remember what Pope, 1046 sent the Crusaders off to kill every man, woman, and child that was Muslim on the other side of the world. And if they did that, they got into heaven. I mean, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you look at history, archaic type thinking, and bear in mind, I mean, every treaty in this timeline, you think, well, how is this relevantly to vision boards? Every treaty in this timeline is congruent with the Magna Carta of 1215. So we are still running today's world in line with 1215 in our history, beliefs and systems.
Wow.
We've got America, yeah, when they got their independence and the forefathers wrote the Constitution. The Constitution is the grounds of the foundation of their society. But has it been updated to a way where it fits with a modern society? And the point is, whether it's a vision board or whether it's a treaty, yeah. So bear in mind, if we take it really into history where we can see it, when, say, the American Indians were given a treaty, yeah, it was a piece of paper. They couldn't read it. It wasn't even in their language. It was a piece of paper, but it was agreed, and they had a vision for the future.
Okay.
Now, it was drawn out on a map, which is sort of like a vision board, and they were told these would be your hunting grounds, and these would be our great white fathers type of thing. And they agreed to it because they wanted peace. And then once whoever took whatever they wanted, they come back for more because there was no honor or integrity. Now, you can hear it. I'm having a slate towards. I'm not. I'm just saying, if we look in history, we can see it. That when it goes on a piece of paper, whether it's the Magna Carta, so for instance, you can't buy your house without a wet signature. Yeah, you can't own anything without a wet signature. Now we're moving to the e-sign, whether contracts for houses will go there, I don't know, or whether they're there already. But without a reference, and bear in mind, your signature and your date, the date you sign it, and it being witnessed is what makes that contract real.
Okay. And
when that contract's real, it becomes it's accepted by all courts within your land. And if you try to say, I didn't sign that, that isn't my signature, because that signature makes you accountable. So rather than vision boards, what would happen if you had a contract and you had a community that held you to account to your contract for what you wanted in your future?
Okay.
Now, because that's the premise it's written on. In history, we are already pre-programmed, for these documents or maps, whatever we see, yeah? And we put a date, and so it's how we attach ourselves to the outside world. But the point of it is, if we already had the right vision, and if we already were navigating to a future we wanted, and there wasn't going to be stormy weather or the eye of the storm, we wouldn't need resilience, we wouldn't need grit, we wouldn't need goals, we wouldn't need vision boards. We would just know instinctively, same way we breathe, same way we know our own name. And if somebody said to you, well, do you want to go to a seminar about success? Well, I'm already succeeding, yeah, but surely you can do better. Well, no, I'm quite happy with the pace I'm doing, me. Well, you're not going to a seminar then? No, I don't doubt myself. I'm not insecure. What do you mean insecure? Well, you obviously aren't happy with your life, and that's why you want more. Well, I am happy with my life. Oh, so you're not happy with your future, and you want a different tomorrow than you have today. And that's the point. is we have calibrated ourselves in line with our education, 12 years of an education system, and we have systemized our consciousness and our ability and even our cognitive thinking in line with an education system. And now we need the reward we need because we've been in a conditioned environment, whether you see it negative or positive. I wasn't in that environment, so I've seen people that I knew at a very young age, and I've seen people at a different age, and I see they actually changed. Their whole value system's changed.
Wow.
People that they were equal with, now they're not equal. Bear in mind, we're all equal, regardless of your mark. Yeah, bear in mind your mark, whatever mark you've got, whether it's 100%, 68%, 20, whether you got 100 stars and you were teacher's pet and you were voted most likely to succeed or queen or king of the pool, yeah, or prom, whatever, it don't mean you're going to be successful. But when other people install in their reality,
yeah,
Paul Rees, he was the cleverest guy in the school, best looking fella. I mean, everybody knew Paul, and everybody knows Paul. I mean, Paul has to be successful, has to be. Why? Because everybody else. Now, then if something, well, like if Paul Rees wasn't successful, it'd be, well, what happened to Paul? When people ask those questions, what they're actually saying is, I had a preordained future for Paul, and he was online to hit it. And if you spoke to John or everyone in the class, they'd all say that Paul was going to be successful beyond a shadow of a doubt. And never mind the average of the 5 you hung about. If you're in a classroom and everybody in that classroom expects and believes and accepts that you're going to be the one to succeed,
yeah,
you've got more than the average of 5 around you. But then, let's say, for example, John or Frank doesn't succeed, then there's the big aha question: what happened?
Wow, Lee, I'm seeing 3 things here. So I'm seeing that we can either be too exaggerated with our vision board. We can be industrial, where we're actually just putting a vision board up for the sake of putting it up and copying what we've done in the past, hoping to change the future. Or we could have, which is where you come from, a knowing. We just know that, and that knowing is a vision board you have in your mind and your heart. You don't necessarily need it up. You just follow you trust your knowing because it's your knowing. But if we're creating a vision board that's through habit, then that becomes an exaggeration, or we could say a desperation for your vision board.
And if you took it, and you're right there, that desperation, but if you just took it, and bear in mind, nothing wrong with the vision board, is whether the vision board's for medication, could be for inspiration, it could be to remind you each morning, which means if you need reminding about what you want each morning, you're not committed to it. And if you're not committed to it, then it's not vision you need. It's unity of self. But on top of that, then, is that some of us aren't happy, and we believe, or we've chosen that by having the big car, and bear in mind, I've got the big car, so I'm not talking bad about anybody who wants a nice car, yeah. But a nice car was the last thing I wanted. First thing I wanted was a happy family, happy. I wanted to be happy. Yeah, so inside me, my biggest goal is I want to be happy, which obviously meant I was unhappy. Yeah, I was either unhappy with myself, unhappy with my environment, unhappy with how people interacted with me. I would say people I respected say to me that I remember one of my friends said to me, I know frogs with more intelligence than you, Lee. Yeah, and I hadn't seen the bloke when we grew up, and when I started driving. I mean, when he started going out with his girlfriend, I drove him from 40 miles for him to see his girlfriend. Never even asked him for petrol, and because he was a mate, and a few of us used to get in the car and go, and then 3 or 4 years later, I sit at a party with him. And I was in the UK, come back, and my brother said, "Oh, such and such having a party on Saturday night. Do you want to go?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was flying, Paul. I had 3 or 4 houses in the UK. I was just buying a place in Ireland, and I wasn't walking around with my chest out or anything like that. I was a worker. I grew up on the tools. I was a worker. I knew what hard work was. Didn't bother me, and felt at the end of the day, if I'd worked hard, I'd achieve something. Yeah. And I suppose from working hard as well, that's a form of resilience. By working hard as well, it's a form of commitment because you're committed to the task being done. By having values, then it's the quality in the task. It's not just ticking a box. Is it done? And am I proud of it? Can other people come in and pick holes in it? Is it done to the best it can be? Or is it done even when you've had those challenges where they go, cool, how did you do that? Well, it took a lot of thought to get that right. Yeah, but some people can reckon, oh my God, how did you do that? That looks impossible. Yeah, oh, yeah, probably 60 attempts. Yeah, but if I had to do it now, I could do it right first time. But when you're really pushing in your resilience and you're not egotistic, you're not buying the houses or doing the things because you're trying to be better than everybody else, trying to carve a lane for yourself was my education at the time, or my I suppose if I was compared with everybody else in the marketplace, I never had a quality score because I never had the default run-of-the-mill education. Was I educated? Yes, but was I educated mainstream? No, because I had severe dyslexia, couldn't read, and everything was jumbled up. So when you're sitting with a friend of yours and you haven't seen him in like 3 or 4 years, and 3 or 4 years ago we were all like out and about having a laugh and that, and it come up about his brother, and he said, I said, how's your brother? He said, yeah, he's all right. He said, I don't know whether you know, he's got schizophrenia. Well, I said, I didn't know. And he said, I wouldn't expect you to know what schizophrenia is. I said, oh, I know what schizophrenia is. And he went, yeah, I'm sure you do, then. I said, no, I do. And he said, that's what always pisses me off with you, Lee. He said, you always seem to know. And he said, but you don't know nothing, mate. You don't know nothing. He said, I know frogs are more intelligent than you. And I didn't take offence to it, nor did I take a wall. Yeah, that line goes by the wayside sometimes. I did not take a fence, a barrier, a wall, an obstacle. He can express himself all he wants. Doesn't mean to say he has to change me inside. So I said, how would you class intelligence? Yeah. And he said, well, I said, well, you're the one that's judging me on it. How would you class intelligence? I said, in my world, intelligence would be memory. Because if you couldn't remember it, you wouldn't be able to compound it. So the first route of memory, to intelligence, would be memory. Can you articulate it is another level. So I said, could we agree that memory is the foundation of intelligence? I said, it doesn't matter what you learn. If you can't remember it, you wouldn't be able to compound it or draw from it. Would that be anywhere where you're supposed to? I said, oh, brilliant. I said, you could be right. And I said to the girl whose party it was, I said, have you got a pen and paper? Now, by this time, the music had stopped because I think they thought there was going to be an argument. A friend of mine who was with me actually wanted to hit this guy. And I said, no. I said, because that would prove that I've got no intelligence. I said, his judgment of me is his judgment of me. If I take any offence to it, then it becomes the judgment of myself. I said, he's entitled to think or believe what he wants about me. And at the time, I was only probably 23. And there was loads of people at this party, so anyone that was there would know this is absolutely true. So I said, do me a favour. I said, write down 20 things on a list. Number them 1 through to 20. Write them down, anything you want. He said, why? I said, just humour me. So he wrote them down. And I said, now pass it to Loretta. I said, Loretta, do me a favour and just read out the list. So she read the list out one time. I said, brilliant. I said, now, John, I said, you wrote the list. You thought about it and put it all down. I said, tell me what's on the list. I said, first of all, would you prefer to do them backwards or forwards? Would you prefer we asked you a number, as in number 7, and you told us what number 7 is? Which way would you, or did you just want to do it verbatim, number 1 right the way through? He said, you expect me to remember what I wrote down? I said, of course I do, my friend. I said, you wrote it down. So I said, recite it. He said, I can't recite it. I said, well, I can. I said, how do you want it? Backwards, forwards, or in sequence or out of sequence? As in, shout me a number. I said, right, shout me a number. She said, number 9. And I told her what number 9 was. I said, you want it backwards? He went, yeah, go on, give it backwards. So I gave it backwards. So I said, if memory is the foundation of intelligence, John, I said, you can't even remember what you wrote down. So I said, so from that, I don't know who is the most intelligent between us. The point of it is, and it's not ego, is if we don't know what we're committed to, and all we're doing is attacking other people to make ourselves feel secure, or because you can't bring somebody down that ain't already up. So normally when somebody's attacking you to put you down, and the reason this is relevant with the vision board, if we've had a life of other people putting us down, then we try to put ourselves up. Or we try to show people in the real world that we're more valuable with the big car, the big house, whatever. Now, if we can afford those things, and that's the level of life we got to, that's great. If we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and we're into the BANK every time, and the bank's funding us, and all we're doing at the end of the month is, well, that's for the bank, that's for the finance company, that's for the electric, then we haven't got a level of success because we haven't got any money or wealth to go with it. Yeah? Wealth is when all of those everyday things have no value, negative or positive to you. Mm-hmm. When the electric bill comes in, it's paid. Yeah, that you haven't got. Because the difference in wealth and success is very wealthy people have trusts. They don't borrow from banks. There's a different playing field for people.
That's such a profound thing to say.
Well, it is because they with us and it's just the way that history's laid out. Yeah, is the everyday person when they die, their estate goes into probate. Then after that, death duties. Bear in mind, you pay taxes all your life, not slagging the government, not an anarchist. But you pay taxes, you already pay taxes, then you go and buy your fuel, you pay tax again. Yeah, you're paying taxes from money that's already tax-free because you pay tax. Then when you die, they take part of your estate from you. And if there's nobody there, nobody left, they take your estate completely, they take it all. But if there's a will left, yeah, or if you've got, like as in members of your family haven't made a will, then you can put a claim on the estate. It goes through probate. After it goes through probate, the government take their share. Yeah, and then whoever gets it, whatever your share is, they pay taxes on it as well. So that what happens there is you can't have wealth passed from one generation to the other.
Okay.
Now, each generation can improve slightly. However, very wealthy people, when I say like lords and kings and queens and ladies and princes and the people with the big titles, their estate doesn't go through probate. Their estate doesn't have death duties put on it. And that's not a negative or a positive. It's just it's structured different because they know something that the other generation don't. Theirs is all in a trust. And because it's in a trust, the government can't touch it. And because it's in a trust, it doesn't go through probate, which means it's not on public record because it's not nobody else's business. How is this relevant to a vision board? If you're not planning with your vision, and if your vision is to leave a legacy, then you need to be setting up a trust. Yeah, the national trust. Look at all what the kings and queens are doing. And anybody can do it. Yeah. But it depends on the level of success you want. If you just want a nice car and a nice house, then they're really not what you want. They're just the trimmings of your success. Success is happiness, joy, friendship, unity. Not having, and if you've got a friend that attacks you, that's where they are. You don't have to put your defences up, but then you go, well, I don't like John because he said that. I still talk to the bloke. I've got no feelings negative towards him. I've got a little bit of confusion as in why would he say that? You might think, well, it must bother you, Lee. Why would you bring it up?
Yeah.
Because that's the problem with a vision. If you've got a negative vision of somebody, a negative judgment, then normally that's only a reflection of you. I hate the way he does that. I mean, he really does my head in when he does that. Well, that's the statement. He really does my head in when he does that. Why don't you have some self-awareness and realise, oh, it's my head that's being done in because he's doing that. what's going on in my head that Paul is affecting it? Rather than putting the blame on Paul, it's nothing to do with Paul, what's going on in my head.
So Lee, would it be fair to say that if you want to vision or build a vision board with authenticity, you really have to look at the quality of you first in how you're thinking, the influence of people to you, how you're influenced? Because I'm seeing here that
you got to put your life on it, Paul. You got to sign it in blood, really. What I mean by that is, if you can buy a house or a car and they need a wet signature, and that wet signature holds you to account in the real world, then are you, because that means you're accountable. A vision board, and no disrespect, with a bit of yoo-hoo and a pair of scissors sticking out pictures on a board, you're back in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And has it got that fluffy that we believe that fairy godmothers or whatever exist? If we took it, and I'm not being disrespectful, it can come across that way, and it might be a hard-hitting statement. If you want success, commit to it. Sit down with a friend and say, well, these are the types of things. Make it real. Have a real interaction. Don't hide it. I won't show Paul my vision board because he'll judge me. If it's real, get your family round. Get your kids involved. Ask them to put pictures on it. Have conversations about it. Don't have a board. Stick it on a wall. Everyone that comes in, what's that? That's what our family's going to do over the next 5 years. Oh, right. Oh, no, we're doing it. Last year we had that there. We've still got it there because that's our history. If you're going to make it real, then be accountable for it. Don't be ashamed by it.
Yeah.
Whether you're the only one doing it, if you're the only one doing it, people walk in and think you're strange. I'm not being funny. When they want to catch a criminal, they have a vision board.
Yeah.
And they cross, yeah. When they want to navigate from one country to the next, they have a vision board. When they're fighting a war, they have these big tables with little ships on, and they have it all, and they play it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you really want success, yeah, you can have your vision board. Nothing wrong with it. And even though, like, you could hear it that I'm putting vision boards down, yoo-hoo and a pair of scissors. No, I'm not. Put some conversations with it as well. And hear the negative. Don't protect yourself from the negative like that, because that's where John is. You really think by cutting them out, sticking them on a piece of paper is going to make... No, I don't think by sticking them on a board it's going to become real. It enables me to keep my mind clear and focused. It enables me to have conversations with people and to plan and to communicate. And it also enables other people to see what I want, where the ones that care about me might want to support me. However, if it's just a vision board stuck down in the corner of your room and you get it out at 11 o'clock at night, like with your little torch under the covers, and it's all secret. And that's where I think the secret, it isn't a secret. It isn't a secret. It's only a secret because we hide it.
I love the idea of getting family involved and getting wet signatures on your vision. I also like the idea of having, because there's two layers of this to me. It's one, if you are clear in your direction, you don't need a vision board because you are playing out, you are making out, you are knowingly creating that future that is purposeful to your happiness. That's where we end there. But also we're saying there are, I'm going to go again, emotionally driven, almost industrial vision boards that go up and are no more than an excuse to get it wrong, where the vision board goes up and it's just trying to mend the past that actually is putting a plaster over everything. So it's not really a vision board. It's just a board of hope. And we know hope is just a poor edge.
You got it. And you got to, I suppose, with it, is if when you look into your future and you see the things that you don't want, and you see much of the same rinse and repeat deja vu drama just keep coming, and you might say, I keep feeling like this because of John, I keep feeling like this because of Mary. It might be anything to do with John and Mary. It might be just they're your trigger for the trauma you haven't processed. And I've got to do all this deep work on myself. And it's so deep down. And it isn't deep down. It's just another belief. It's actually not just in you. It's just data you haven't processed. How is that relevant to a vision board? Because if the vision board is medication just to overcome, like, your negative, your feelings for yourself, then it isn't a vision board. It's just a Panadol. And you're not committed to it.
On a vision board, can it also be, and we got about 4 minutes here, and I just want to kind of get this in. So can a vision board also be used in the wrong way, where people are just putting it up saying, okay, I want myself a Jaguar, that's going on my vision board.
Yeah.
I want myself a mansion, that's going on my vision board. But knowing that I'm putting it up there, and I'm then, because people do this, they say, okay, it's on there, now it's up to the universe to bring it in. I've heard that so many times, where they put the reliance of, they've taken themselves out of it, and they say
it's sort of messaged that way.
Will make it happen.
It's sort of messaged that way. And let's say, I'm not being funny, if Jim Carrey sat in his living room and never made a phone call, never wrote a letter, bear in mind nowadays, I mean, it's so easy to be successful with all the apps and all the social media, you can be connected with people around the world. Where Jim Carrey sat in, I don't know, the back end of Beyond, no TV, no internet, no phone, no nothing, and stuck his vision board up and never communicated to anybody, was a hermit, grew his own veg, and nobody ever spoke to him. Do you think that vision board would serve him?
Well, no.
Do you think? So what would have to happen? Like the universe will sort it out. I mean, what, are they going to teleport him to Hollywood? Is it this helicopter lands at the back of Southend somewhere or whatever, or Holyhead, and Oprah gets out? Oh, we were so lucky we almost crashed in that. Oh, look, there's a house there. Oh, hello, and I'm Oprah. We just think, Oprah, he would know who Oprah was because, and who are you? I'm Jim Carrey. And what do you do, Jim? I plan vision boards all day, and I grow vegetables, and I've got the odd bit of stock. And what is it you want to do? I want to be a famous Hollywood actor. All right, yeah. Well, lucky my helicopter almost ran out of fuel and we landed here, because now I can make your dream come true. And it isn't like that, but we perceive it. Where if we actually looked at it this way, what has to happen? And sometimes luck happens.
Yeah.
I don't like luck. I don't like the Vegas lifestyle. What I mean by the Vegas lifestyle is I don't need somebody to tell me to go and break a leg. Yeah, and that's Hollywood talk, or stage talk, because that means you're going to be part of the cast. Yeah, to break your leg, you need a cast. So they tell you to break a leg, so you get the cast. So you're part of the cast, yeah?
Okay.
So the point I'm saying is I don't like luck. I don't like red or black, as in, is it going to be black or red? It's a 50-50 split. No, I breathe for me. I think for me. I decide for me. This is my life. Everything I do will come from me. Everything I communicate will either set an intention in other people and they know I'm real, honourable and true. Yeah, and if my history stands for me, they will see me as somebody. Whether they accept me, it's up to them. But when I say it's going to happen, nobody that knows me, if I say, I'm going to do that, nobody would question me. You can hear that like as in, we're so controlling. They wouldn't doubt me, which means I have unity within my network, unity within my family, and they go and I say, anyone know how I can do this? Anyone know anybody? Well, I can do this for you, Lee. Brilliant. Or that. I'm not sure if that's exactly what I want, but I like the way you're thinking. Stay with me on it, yeah? Really appreciate your intent. Roz might say, well, I know this. How about we do this? And we brainstorm it.
Yeah.
And if I was doing a project, I would look at it, and Roz and I would probably flip chart it out, same sort of thing, vision board, just in writing.
Yeah.
And we would go, right, who do I need to talk to? Well, Paul Reese, you and Paul get on well, don't you? Why don't you ask Paul to see if he wants to come along to a brainstorm? He seems to value what you do. Yeah. Now, Paul's very mission orientated. You want to make an impact for obviously the next generation or whatever. Yeah, well, that fits with my values. That's what I'm looking to do. So Paul's values are going to align with it. Who else do we know? And we would go through anyone we know, friends, family, business associates, and say what we're going to do.
And this would become a collective vision board then.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Yeah? Why wouldn't it be? Why would I be Mr. Loner?
Yeah.
Am I ashamed of what I want? Why would I be? So, yeah, if you're doing a vision board that's under the covers and you've got your little torch in your mouth looking at it at night.
Yeah.
There's a noise. Hide it under my mattress. Right. Yeah, and I pretend to be asleep. If I've got that type of vision board, yeah, and then the universe is going to manifest it, that'd be a bit like Jim Carrey on an island in the middle of nowhere and no TV and no. You've got to broadcast it.
There it is.
You've got to broadcast it because it's other people's hearts and minds that's going to make it happen. Other people's words. You're never going to be successful, never going to be a Hollywood actor or whatever it is that you want without other people.
Wow.
So if you're Mr. or Mrs. Loner, under the covers with a torch, looking at your vision board, and it's hidden in the corner of the room, and I won't show it to Paul because he'd probably only laugh. Yeah, then sooner or later you're going to wake up. Excuse me. And what will happen is that 10 years ago, I mean, how much time has to go by for you to realise it's not working? And the reason it's not working is because of trust, because of belief. Lack of it in yourself, even though I say you can't believe or trust yourself, that's another story. But if people genuinely care in this and seeing you're talking to the right people, there's no point in talking to the lollipop like lady or man, yeah, at the zebra crossing and asking them to get you a job in Hollywood. It ain't going to happen. But you might be lucky enough. Well, funny enough, I was at a wedding the other day. My sister just got married to one of the top Hollywood producers. Couldn't introduce me, could you? Well, I don't know, met him for the first time, but I'll ask my sister. She sleeps with him. See if I can get him to put a good word in. What's your name again? You're the chap with the hat. Yeah. I mean, if we don't know people and we haven't got relationships, we ain't got nothing. If we're just bringing the drama and armour of life to whether our life or success, Mr. or Mrs. Lonely, yeah, loner, not unless you're a Sigma rather than an Alpha. If you're a Sigma, Mr. or Mrs. Lonely can go a long way.
Let me jump in here because we have come to our end of our webinar. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm getting from this. If you're going to do a vision board, first of all, broadcast it, be accountable, get wet signatures, get everybody involved. But also,
well, why don't they put it up? Why don't people just on the comments give us a snapshot of your vision board? Put it up on social media, tag us, and we'll help you make it real. If it's yours and it's thing, I mean, no point being ashamed of it. Show the world, and then just ask them. Anyone know how I can achieve this? Do you know something? We don't want the people that want to come for the price. Yeah. We all help each other. Yeah, I mean, the Vikings could never have got to the UK if there was one rowing.
So true. So true. And we're going to call it there. It's been a fantastic show. And Lee said, call it out. Get your vision board on there, tag us in. You will find Lee anywhere, all over LinkedIn, that's for sure. Just reach out. He is there. He's an amazing man. And of course, he is the subconscious code breaker. And that's part of what he does. So absolutely reach out. And it's been a fantastic show. Really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. And we'll be back again this time next week with a surprise subject that will get Lee opening up and thinking. Any last thoughts before we finish off there, Lee?
Your vision board as should be also your mission board. What's your mission in life? How do the two match? Absolutely. And it's that simple, really.
Okay. Yeah. We will see everybody this time next week. And Lee, thank you again for your mind, your heart, and everything else that comes with that. Love you to bits. And we'll catch you this time next week. And we say bye for now.